And tonight, the cello concerto is played by the young British cellist Julian Lloyd Webber with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, conducted by Sir Yehudi Menuhin, who, incidentally, as a teenager in July 1932, recorded Elgar's violin concerto with the composer conducting. After today's rehearsal, Julian asked Sir Yehudi what memories he has of that recording.
Sir Yehudi, you were just 15 when you recorded the Elgar violin concerto with Elgar himself conducting.
I believe I was 16, and actually Elgar himself was at that time only about 4 years older than I am now. So I've caught up in that respect, and now I have. You are too old, of course. You should
Much too old.
You should be 16 too.
But the thing is, what is your main memory of recording the work with him?
Well, I was tremendously impressed with the whole atmosphere, with the man who was a great gentleman, and somehow there was this awareness of being a gentleman, and that is that not only dogs and horses and tweed suits, not that, but the nobility and the dignity and the fact that work as such was ennobled by the fact of it being a work of love, and everything he did was a work of love and devotion. And when he conducted, he didn't give the impression of working either.
Yes.
I had played with many conductors already by then, and they were all people whom you recognize as conductors. I mean, you knew they were conductors. It was their profession. Of course, Elgar was a composer, but he conducted most effectively, but conducted like a gentleman.
Yes.
He didn't prance about, he didn't jump about, he didn't shout. He kept within the limits of courtesy and propriety.
Yes.
And at the same time, behind this facade was a man of enormous passion, enormous humor, but great tenderness, great intensity of expression. But as in his music, there is never an exaggeration, there's never a brutality, there's never aggression. I mean, he would never be a Bartok. And he is the epitome of great English nobility, I feel.
I've always felt that he marked his own music with incredible care, more care than perhaps any other composer.
It's perfectly true. I think he wanted to be sure that the interpreter would not misinterpret. After all, these little indications, once you've digested them, you needn't take them at their maximum value. I mean, a fermata is just a hold. It needn't be a long fermata. And the same way with the many swells, crescendi, diminuendi. But one has then to use one's instinct. But at least I welcome these markings, because it's like speaking to a composer in a way that one can't normally, to know exactly what he felt about it and then assimilate it in a way that it becomes natural. If one is slavishly and sort of in a kind of pupilish way following everything, then it makes no sense.
What do you think was the main thing? What do you remember was the main thing he looked for in performances of his own music?
I think he liked really powerful expression. He was a romantic at heart, and he was very English in that way. They're romantic about music, about science, about every kind of subject, perhaps least about women, but very particularly about music.
And do you think in the end he'd have approved of our performance?
I think he would. I knew you were coming to that. You want the sanction of the elder, as it were, the go-between. I think he would have, Julian, really, because you play it with great, not only command, but you play it with great intelligence, great understanding, great musicianship. And you have very definite ideas, which you also voice in a rather charming, diffident way, but which are all right and genuine and have justification. So I feel that he would have